What's up, brother? Are you good? You got some time? Let's talk about Tanzania. Update. What's happening in Tanzania right now? We all know violence and incidents of violence are happening in Tanzania right now. It's bad. The government is doing what the government usually do in Africa when it faces its own people, trying to suppress the havoc. People have been unalive in Tanzania. The government talks about 2 to 3 people. Human rights and opposition talk about 700 people unalive. That's a big difference, and that's a big number. They're also talking about shooting across the border. Let me remind you here that youth from Kenya came across the border to try to give support to the Tanzanian youth in their fight. Now, violent incidents in Tanzania and Kenyan border have left multiple people shot, including 2 Kenyans who were critically injured. The shooting occurred during cross-border protests sparked by Tanzanian dispute of election. Remember here that Tanzanian and Kenyans are very similar people, basically one people. They trade across the border. Remember, the borders was instituted by white men during colonialism. Before that, there was no border between the 2 people. So merchants from both sides go to the next country to go and sell and buy, usually. So it's an everyday activity. Is that perhaps the reason why you would understand why Kenyans would come to the border in support of Tanzanians? Is that why the reason you would understand Kenyans blaming some shots coming from Tanzania crossing the border? Was that by mistake, or maybe a clear message saying, do not get involved in things that don't concern you? Human rights and opposition in Tanzania claim that hundreds of people have been unalive during 3-day protests. That's a lot of people. We're talking about 700 people. If this is true, it's painful for the people of Tanzania, who are naturally very soft and quiet people. Obviously, the death toll varies between multiple parties. The second thing is, there are reports saying there's internet shutdown in Tanzania right now. Is that the best way to suppress protest? Or maybe an authoritarian way to shut people up? Question mark. I want you to let me know how you feel about that. Some people say internet will allow people to organize and create mayhem and do distraction. They believe that internet is part of freedom of speech. Now, other people believe that you need to shut internet down in order to get order back into track. Which side do you lean into? So let's see what BBC has said about this, so you don't say it comes from me, okay? BBC said the demonstration have seen mostly young protesters take to the street of the city across Tanzania and denounce election as unfair. BBC say young people said the election are unfair. Therefore, that's the reason why they went to the street. People of Tanzania accuse the government of undermining democracy by suppressing main opposition leaders. One is in jail and the other was excluded on technical ground. So they believe that the government of Tanzania is doing this on purpose. Why? Because they want to stay in power. They don't want any other candidates to be positioned in the possibility of even being elected. I mean, if you have to put everybody in jail that is possible potential opposition or adversary to you, does that mean you truly believe in yourself? Question mark, if this is true. While the Foreign Minister of Tanzania, Mahmoud Kubu, has described violence as a few isolated pockets. He says violence is not everywhere, it's just few isolated pocket incidents here and there, and security forces acted very swiftly and decisively to address the situation. So the Foreign Minister is basically saying all that you're hearing about, all these people being unalived, all the mayhem, the burning, the distraction, it's just few pockets, it's not everybody. Don't get alarmed about it. What do you think about that? Now, BBC also says that it's been difficult for journalists and human rights groups to check the reports of unaliving people because hospitals are refusing to give out information when asked about casualty. Okay, they say hospitals are refusing to give numbers. Do you think this is probable? Well, it's very much possible. It could be possible, not necessarily for Tanzania, but wouldn't it be something you would think about if you were president of a country and people were unalive, telling hospitals not to give the exact number for security purpose? It's a possibility, but is this the case of Tanzania? We don't know. Now, the official result of the election are awaited on Saturday. For context, this is the president of Tanzania, this lady named Samia. She replaced this man, John Pombe Magufuli. She came in power 2021 as Tanzania's first female president following the unaliving of President John Magufuli. So Samia was initially praised for her easy political stance. She allowed political parties to operate freely. She freed some of the political prisoners. She even initiated conversation and discussion with opposition parties, which was perceived as a soft and good way to do things. Obviously, when you have a lady as a president, you expect softness, you expect motherhood, you expect togetherness, and that's exactly what she brought. Now, many people are accusing the president of changing drastically throughout the years. They feel like the more time has gone, the more hardened she's become. The more they throw people in jail, the more opposition people are beaten up. They have accused the main political party of unaliving people that are potentially dangerous to their reign. Now, if you want to have a comprehensive idea and understanding about Tanzania, you must please watch our previous video on Tanzania, where we explain everything about Tanzania, at least almost. Some people believe that this political party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, which is the main political party in power, since it has been in power for so long, the initial ideas of the creators who wanted peace for the people and happiness have perhaps faded out with years and different people coming and joining the political party. You can understand, usually when you have an idea, an ideology, and you present it to people, the more years go, the ideology tends to be melted down because it's usually mixed with other ideas and personal projects and stuff like that. Do you think this is true? Again, the government say that less than 5 people were unalive. The opposition say there are more than 700 people unalive in Tanzania. And I believe Tanzanians in most cases are peaceful people. Which one do you believe? Again, do you think that government move of blocking opposition from presenting themselves at the election is justified? One of the opposition leader named Lundu Lisu, who's been very vocal, is being held for treason charges, which he denies. And another one, Luhanga Pina, was excluded for legal technicalities. I mean, there are many questions to ask across Africa. You're looking at some countries such as Cameroon, where the president is 92 years old. He's been in power for 43 years through the same political party. And you ask yourself a question, aren't there other people that are competent enough in Cameroon to run things? Question mark. Do you think the president of Cameroon at 92 years old really want to stay president? Or do you perhaps believe that maybe people around him that are used to the power, that's gotten used to the lifestyle, gotten used to the easiness that brings the fact of being the ruling party, that pushes them to hold on to power, even though sometimes it is necessary to let go? You look at the case of Côte d'Ivoire, where the president, this man right here, has just run for presidency on a 3rd term, even though the constitution of the country prohibited it. They made changes so that he can run again. And what did he do? He barred opposition leaders from presenting themselves. At least all the serious opposition were put away before he passed again as president. Is this a modus operandi across Africa, where Africans are actually persecuting other Africans by forcing them a lifestyle? Or do you think in this case it's justified? Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. Please drop a comment. We want to hear what you have to say. Do you believe 3 people have been unalive or 700 people? And again, people from Kenya have been shot, reportedly. Let me know how you feel about this. God bless.